and today we're going to talk about project management. Project management, it's one of the functionalities that comes out of the box of SAP. It's available to everybody on 9.0 and version 10, obviously. Now, it needs to be turned on in order for you guys to see it on your menu, and we'll talk about that next. Today, we're going to look at what the type of project that we have available financially, sub-projects that need to be part of a bigger project, overview, stages, summary, and assigning transactions and documents to existing projects, and finally, reports. This is what we're going to be looking at today. So if we go into SAP, let's take a look at first how to turn this on. Now, this is irreversible, so my suggestion is to do this on a test environment first to see if that's something that you need and that you would like to have for your company before you're doing it in the production environment. So to turn that on, we need to go to Modules, Administration, System Initialization, Company Details. Once you are in the Company Details screen, we need to go to Basic Initialization. And if you look at almost at the bottom of the screen, it's a little grayed out now because I have selected it already, where it says Enable Project Management. Once you click that and then you update, then you'll be able to see it on your list of menus. Okay? And of course, you can work with your authorizations to allow certain users to be authorized to work on your project or not. Now, so to start the project, a project management can be an internal or external project. And an internal project is and I'm going to put a good example from for a lot of customers that you might have the installation of a new company and a new machinery, and specific something that is going to cost a lot of money to bring in, and it's going to involve a lot of expenses in order to get it running. In this case, I do have a customer that did buy a machine, a really large machine out of Germany. So we created an internal project for them where they follow up every single expense associated with that, with the purchase, the installation, and the testing of the machinery all the way until completion. So they know exactly how much is spent on it at the end of the day. The second is external. This works a lot for companies that, engineering firms, for example, or somebody that has a project starting with a customer that is going to involve a lot of people, and it's going to involve a lot of expenses that need to be associated with it. So in this case, for example, I started a new project for a specific customer. I can assign who the owner and the self-employee are going to be working on it, as well as a territory. I have a project name and the status. At this point, it's just starting. We can pause it, stop it, or finish it. Then we have the start date, due date, and end date. Then the next part of it is the financial project. This is what's going to link all of the transactions in SAP to a specific project. The link itself obviously has no accounting repercussions on a project. All you do is you're going to have a really nice report showing you all of the expenses that were generated. They do belong to this project. So for that, we have to create the financial project. And we do this by clicking on the little round icon and create new. Once you create new, you have a window that opens up like this. and you can have as many different projects going on at the same time. In this case, we created this one, and the project code, we have a project name, and we have a validation, a time validation. You can leave it blank if it's going to be a long project, or you can enter your validation dates. Keep in mind that if the project extends or goes goes beyond your due date, then you have to change your validation date. Otherwise, the system will not allow you to keep entering information or assigning that project to certain transactions. Okay, so this is pretty much the overall on the header of the projects. We can have sub-projects, as you can see right here, or not. If I click on it, I have another tab that creates my sub-projects, and we'll see how we are going to assign sub-projects to this project. We have a risk level. We have a type of industry that you can define or leave blank, and then of course you have comments. Anything that you want to talk about this project, you can have it defined here. I'm gonna skip projects for now, so I'm gonna jump to stages first, because these are the stages that we want to define. What are the stages of every single step of this project? So I created these stages for now, with the start date, due date per stage. In this case, let's say if you have some sort of construction, you can define and say, well, my stage is conception, is initialization, definition or planning, launching and execution, and performance and control, and of course your finishing stage. These are predefined already in the system. They apply for any type of project. What is the part where we can make changes is on the task. The task, you can create as many different tasks that you want, and it's very simple. We just can go into define new, and on the task setup, we just type in the name of the task that we want to allocate. Okay, and then of course the description of this task. What is it that we need to look up? In this case, my very first stage is conception, which is a survey, and it's a site survey. I can assign a unique ID to this specific area. It's not mandatory, but you can. And you can assign a cost, what is it you're planning to spend on this specific project, stage, I'm sorry. And all of the stages have a very unique cost associated with them. And on the summary tab, you will be able to see, well, this is my sum of all the costs that I assign, which is my budget. Okay, now under stages, you can actually assign an owner for each stage. You can select whether it's finished or not, and what is the percentage that to complete that involves on that specific stage. In this case, let's say when I got a 1 because it's just a site survey, and you can start 10% here. You can start associating a percentage that you think is appropriate for that particular stage. On the ownership, you can assign it to a specific employee that we have, and you can associate a dependency. Of course, on the very first stage, there's no dependencies, but on the second stage, you can define, well, I cannot do my work until I have my site survey. So I'm dependent on the site surveys to do that, to be able to finish that. And of course, customer approval has to be also dependent on site survey and on the odds. It doesn't have to. They could be stages that are very independent, and you can have multiple stages like permits and production, that you can do multiple stages in production that you're not dependent on anything to complete. You can assign up to 4 different stages. So if you have multiple dependencies for each stage, you can assign it here. So in this case, I have completed that one, and I can update here. So as I'm completing, as you can see, I finished this stage, I marked finish, and I had associated at 1%. Then it gives me up here on the header of the screen, it's going to give me the percentage completion, which is 1%. So as you complete, you'll be able to see where you are with this. Now, now that we have all our stages defined, in this case, you know, I have finished this one, and I can go over the rest of my stages, and I can define what my start date and my due date per stage, and when was actually my finish date. When did I actually completed the project, in case there is any delays or situations like that. Now, I can also, going back to the sub-projects, I can add sub-projects. I can, and let's go ahead and do that. If I would add a sub-project, I can move the screen over here. I can put a description. In this case, I need the architectural review. This is a sub-project that I don't have to, you know, it's not a stage, it's just a sub-project that I need to have part of the architect to review. And it's going to be my project for number 5. That's the project number. And what is going to be my contribution percentage? In this case, I'm going to put 15%. And one is my due date. I'm sorry, my start date, my due date. Let's set up on the 15th. And one is going to be my my finish date. Okay, Sunday on the 16th, and my finish date should be on the 15th. And I can assign an owner. And I can assign an actual my plan cost. I can say, well, this is going to cost me $1,500. I can have stages on a sub-project. I can have multiple stages on this sub-project. And let's say it's today. Okay, and I can assign tasks to my sub-project as well. And it's going to be planning. And oh, sorry, I've been trying to spell it in Spanish. And this is going to be $1,500. Okay, and this is going to be 100% to finish this specific sub-project. And I can add it. So now I have a sub-project here. And as you can see, this is the external sub-projects, can be third parties and things like that. So now that we have our stages and all of our sub-projects defined, then we can see our summary, where it's going to give us our total, and it's going to give us if any document has been assigned to it or not. So this is the first part of the project. Now that you have created everything, that you have allocated all of the stages and sub-projects, the next step is to actually create transactions in the system and how we're going to allocate those onto the project. So for example, the first thing we're going to have is an invoice. Form, you know, it could be from the architectural review or from the site planning that we have. So let's see here, and it's going to be a service invoice, or it can be an item code, and of course this is going to be an expense. I put it under miscellaneous expense for now. You can select the account that you need to go to. In this case, it's exempt, and I have a total of $500 for this one. And you're gonna be able to add the project onto the lines. For that, we have to go to the form settings, table format, and you can find project and make it visible to your on your screen. So in here, now that I have the project, I can say that this particular site, it belongs to this particular project. Now, this invoice might have other expenses that go to different accounts, and you can apply it. Let me see, it doesn't matter. Let's say travel expenses, and you can apply it to a different project if you like. Okay. So at this point, let me do exempt, and let's see, $500. So we're going to add this. Sorry, it's the valid period for the project that we needed to double check. And we have 11, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, is this valid? Is this project the one that is not wanting to cooperate? So let me check this one, and it is correct. I changed, it already expired. Sorry, I selected, okay, and we can add and mail. Okay, so at this point, if I would go back, if I will hit a refresh on my screen, you'll see or access the project management again. You'll get a system message saying you have unassigned documents existing in the system. Do you want to assign them? So I'm going to say yes. So in here, I can see that I generated that AP invoice, as you can see, the one I just created, and we want to assign the line of that document. In this case, we only have line 1 because that's the only line that belongs to this project. So I can select line 1. If you have multiple lines for the same project, you'll have a list of all of the lines here. So I selected the line, and I select where am I going to put this document, where does it belong, which stage it belongs to. So we know that belongs to the site survey, so I'm going to move it over, and there it is. As you can see, it's no longer on my assignment, documents assignment, and I'm going to hit assign. Okay, so if we go to the stages now, we're going to see the $500 for just that one line that belongs to this project, now listed on the invoice AP amount. And if we look below here, you're going to see documents. You're going to see several, but if you see documents, now we have that AP invoice assigned to it. Okay, you can choose to charge this, to make it, to charge the customer for it or not. That's something that you can decide at the time of invoicing the customer or not. Okay, so now if we see that there's a $500 added to it, if I go to the summary, I'm going to see now that I have an AP invoice of $500. So now my variance is only 99.667. 147, and my total variance is $149,500 because I already have allocated $500. Okay, so let's assign more documents to this sub-project, for example. You can also do it manually by going to the documents, and on the document type, you'll be able to assign it. I don't have one to assign, but you'll be able to assign this manually, or you'll be able to do it the other way that we discussed, where you have the sub-projects, you have the stages, and be able to assign it then. Now, if you go over your planned cost, obviously it's going to be part of your variance, and the system is going to give you that information. You can have an open issues where you can create any remarks, any open issues that you might think are appropriate to list in here, and for each of the stages, for example. Okay, so I highlight the stage where I want to have my issue. I can select my area, if it's timeline, technical, or I can define new ones. So let's say it's technical. What is my priority? Where are the remarks? Need to check internet. And if there is a solution, or in the description, and of course who's responsible and who entered this information, and the date that was entered, and if there is added cost, if we're going to have, I don't know, $150 cost assigned to it. And then of course, once everything is resolved, and then we can mark this close. So, and this is per stage. Assign person, assign it up here, and the responsible, and then get this, the row, so I don't have to add another row, and the date that it happened. Sorry. I'm sorry, yes. The system is telling me that I cannot mark it closed without having an actual solution to the problem. So I can leave it open like this, or I can leave it blank. Okay, now under attachments, I can attach any documents I like, and this is per stage as well. You also have an attachment for the overall project up here. And this is what is being used for the main documentation for the whole project. Now we also then we saw the documents that we assigned, where we can assign as many documents as we want. We have work orders. This comes directly from the service module, where you can assign a work order. You can assign a document. I don't have any work orders right now, and you can also assign anything for if anything needs to be produced, so any production orders as well. And we can also add activities. I can create an activity, as you all know, a very simple activity to keep track of what is going on with this project, so everybody can see where we are with it. Okay. So at this point, we have created, but let's go ahead and add now, what would it take for us to add an invoice, a AR invoice to a customer? So if we would go to a sales invoice, since we want to invoice as part of this job, you can invoice it at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of each project, depending on your agreement with your customer. We just add, in this case, this is the customer that we want to add the The invoice, it can be a service invoice or it can be an item invoice. In this case, I'm going to create a service item, and it's going to be for the site survey that we're going to charge for, and we're going to use this revenue account, and it's exempt. We're not going to charge them anything. And for this one, we can charge them $1,500. And again, we have to add the project. You can do it per line like we did on the AP invoice, but we can also do it as a whole document. You can see in this case, we don't need to do it per line because it's just an invoice for that customer on that specific project. And I can do it for the whole document instead of per line. You can also do it per line if you have a customer with multiple projects. So you can have, you can assign it per line as well. Okay. And I'm gonna add. So if I go back to my project, again, you're gonna see the same message. Every time you have a new document that you created, you can assign a new document. So this one, just line 1, this is the AR invoice that we just created, as you can see, for the $1,500. And where are we gonna apply it to? We're gonna apply it to here. I'm gonna send it over, and you'll be able to see it there. And it's assigned. Now, if I go to the summary, I'm going to be able to see on my profits column the $1,500 for the AR invoice. And in the stages, I'm going to see, besides my AP invoices, I'm going to see my AR invoices as well. Okay. Now, there are other type of documentation or transaction that you can assign to a project, and it's pretty much it works the same way. Except, for example, payroll. If you want to allocate a certain amount of payroll to a specific project, and we do know that SAP does not have payroll, but we do use the journal entries to create all the transactions for the payroll. So if we will go to the journal entry to allocate some of the payroll, you can see here that you have a project. You can do it per journal entry for the whole document, or you can also do it per line as well. So just only a certain lines of the journal entry can be part of your project right here. Okay, so you can assign it like that. And in this case, let's say, well, it was payroll that came out of my bank account, and it went into my payroll. Let's see if we can do one that was already created. For example, this is the sale. Okay, and this one we can do. And as you can see, I can just assign it to specific project and update. And as you can see, my journal entry doesn't change. The only thing it changes is how, which project I'm assigning it. And now, if I refresh, I'll be able to see my summary and be able to see that journal entry as well. Now, a lot of times you have a timesheet that you want to check how many hours an employee has dedicated to a project. For that, we use the human resources module. We go to timesheet, and you can see if we had we have an existing timesheet that I would like to allocate it, all I have to do is have the project in here, the project tab in here, and be able to allocate it that way. Financial project, as you can see, okay. And where is my financial project? Oh, here it is. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. But as you can see, it's been assigned to. Very simple, very easy, and you'll be able to see it on your reporting. Obviously, a timesheet has no value, so you'll be able to run as many reports as you like. So pretty much this is in a very short period of time what a project management does, how to create it. Now, the system comes with really, really cool reports, and you can do that by doing that right click. You can see the general ledger, everything that has happened for this particular project, as you can see here. So everything that is happened, all of the transactions that we did, including that journal entry that I just assigned. You'll be able to see also the trial balance, the profit and loss statement, and this is just about this specific project. So you can see here level 3. So you'll be able to see profit and loss per project. Now, all of this is standard on 9.0. So you'll be able to run all of these reports. You'll be able to see your timesheet report right here. Let's see if we have anything. So you'll be able to allocate, let's select all the stages. We don't have enough data in here to run all of these reports. Let's see. I don't think we assigned the timesheet. We had it assigned to a different project, so this one doesn't have any. So it's not giving us any information, but you'll be able to see also the trial balance, project overview. This is a really, really beautiful report that you can see your progress, you can see activities, work orders, and of course your sub-projects as well. Now, there is a difference between 9.3 and version 10 on project, and this is the Gantt chart. In 9.3, you will be able to see your Gantt chart, but it's not interactive. The interactive part is available only on version 10, which is very, very cool. I can actually start modifying my dates from the Gantt report like this, and I'll be able to see how my dates change by doing this. Let me move it a little more. For example, in this case, I'm changing my dates, and as you can see, it's changing my due date. Or if I want to modify my start date from 11/15, as you can see, I can move it like that. And when I update, now my it's going from 11/23 to 12/10. So if I update and I go back to my project, now my stages, as you can see, it changed the dates as I had on the Gantt chart. So that's pretty much the main difference now, that this is interactive and you'll be able to see everything here. Of course, we can make it a little smaller so you can see it better, or we can enlarge it as much as I want. Okay, Clarita, I think this is everything I needed to present today. So just remember, if you don't see it on your menu, please make sure you go to the company details to enable the project management. And of course, you will have to have the correct authorization to access the company details. Normally, just the administrator of the account can do that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lorena, for your presentation. As you probably, most of you probably know Lorena from having worked with her before. She's one of our senior functional consultants, and she's based in Texas, as you can see from the map that she's showing on her profile. That was a wonderful presentation, Lorena. Thank you very much for your enthusiasm always. You have some questions. I don't know if we're going to have time to answer all of them, but if you want, I'm going to read them to you, and we can see how many we can get to. Okay?
Sure.
On the so Kristen is asking on the project part where you can put an owner on it. If I choose an employee to be that owner, will it pull his salary to the project to show how much it costs to use that employee for that project?
No, it has to be done at the journal entry level. Once you record how much you're paying your employee in SAP, which normally is done with the journal entry, then you have to allocate that specific amount to that project.
Okay, perfect. Miklos is asking, will SAP ever add a down payment section, as many of our project business partners require down payments? I don't know, Lorena, if this question is for you, or maybe Miklos, if you're going to join the next session, maybe that's a question that you can ask Edith, as she is very familiar with the roadmap, unless you know something, Lorena.
Well, I can see why it would be very beneficial to have the visualization of a down payment, but you can do a sales order in SAP and receive a down payment on a sales order, and you might be able to see on the documentation on the incoming payment and the sales order for the down payment. But yeah, it would be nice to have on the visualization. So yes, it will be able to complement definitely that question.
Okay, fantastic. We have another question from Carla. She asks, how does the project management module interfaces with the other modules? For example, in the creation of invoices, will the invoice be created from the project management module? I think you already showed the invoice.
Yes, exactly. We did. You go about creating your invoice just normally as you always do, and all you have to do is just allocate the project module to the invoice. And like I mentioned, you can do it per document, for the whole document, or per line.
Okay, fantastic. In the chat, we have a question from David. He's asking, can you create summary tasks similar to Microsoft Project?
I don't know about Microsoft Project to be able to answer that question. But the summary task is pretty much the stages, and you do have what is called the project overview, which gives you a big summary of what needs to be done based on your stages. But I'm sorry, I don't know MS Project.
Okay. Natalia was asking, can we assign tasks to users?
Yes, you can. You can assign. You have that ownership. It's just to assign it to the user. Yes.
Okay. Here's a question from Anastasia. If your organization also purchased BEAS Advanced Manufacturing, will we be able to attach work orders we produce in BEAS to a project, since we are using SAP Business One project management module? Anastasia, I consulted with our experts in BEAS for this question, and unfortunately you can't. BEAS has its own project management module, and you would need to decide which one to use, but they are separate functionalities, and they don't speak to each other. If you need more details, we can definitely email each other, and I can put you in touch with our experts. The second part of your question, maybe Lorena can answer, is if you want to assign owners to stages, do they need access to the project management module? From my understanding, this module requires a more advanced license to access.
Yes, you need to have a specific license, we'll be happy to provide that, but we also, of course, needs to be on the authorization, be able to, to be authorized to access it. But yes, we can send the license breakdown, Clarita, if we have it, so that way they know exactly what type of license is required. Obviously, professional license is available for that, but on the limited license, we just need to see the chart to see which license applies.
Okay. Sandy is asking, can we assign and give access to a specific user, projects, and tasks? And do you have a dashboard out of the box to report project status, time, budget, and completion?
We don't have a dashboard out of the box like that. But I know we might have a class on how to create your own dashboards. So that is a really, really nice class and really cool dashboard to create.
Okay, and last question for today is, will the users receive a notification when a task is assigned to an owner?
We can create an alert. Definitely, if you want them to pop on their screen. And yes, the user will have a kind of a message that they kind of have to go double check, but an alert will be the best way, in my opinion, to alert the user that they have something pending to do. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Lorena. This was a very active presentations with a lot of questions. We hope you all enjoyed it. And don't forget to register for our next session that it's starting in 4 minutes. It's more on version 10 by Edith Sagay, and then also Richard Calvo is going to be joining us to take us on the step-by-step to a successful migration. If you didn't register, we're going to be sharing the link on the chat, and it's probably already there. And I'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.